While many flood our amazing city to celebrate the Gay Pride Parade here in the city of Chicago, to celebrate love, to celebrate happiness, to celebrate individualism, to celebrate people and all the different shapes and sizes and colors and backgrounds that we come from. It was going to be our honor and so much fun to play audio from Devin Tingle, who is currently, as we are recording this, in the middle of the parade, having a good time with our audience here in Chicago and with WCPT. And we were going to talk about Title IX and how the impact of Title IX and its anniversary in our country and how it specifically affected both positively and negatively college sports, women's sports. And that's not going to be the case on this edition of the Sports Cubicle with Dan Marver, Devin Tingle, Paul Chivari, and myself, Mike Mercado. At least this segment, you know, we like to have fun here. Talk about the NBA draft. Talk about the Gay Pride Parade. Talk about some of the great gay athletes, LGBTQ plus athletes that have given us their soul, their body for our entertainment. And for those who couldn't come out and had to do it, you know, their whole life without being able to be open and having that in them because they were afraid of prosecution and for what other people were going to do. And it seems like the more and more we try to move forward, the more steps we take back. And I understand me being a straight man talking about this. I understand the other three straight men doing this show. What opinion do we have? What should we be talking about this? We have no right to talk about this. But we have the responsibility. We have the platform. And this amazing station, WCPT 820 AM, has always been covering these stories, has always been an ally. And that's what we want to be here on the Sports Cubicle. And I know for a lot of people listening, they hate the word ally. They get triggered by it. I know they hate SJWs. They get triggered by that. But what we're talking about is human rights, decency rights. We're going to talk about Brittney Griner in a second, not being able to communicate with her wife because our United States government is too incompetent to take care of one of its own. We're going to talk about the fact that while the majority of this country, of its citizens, are okay with women having the rights that they deserve to control their own bodies, would love common sense gun laws. Instead, we get neither, right? That's what happens here. So it's our responsibility on this show, even though we should be celebrating Title IX and what it's done to give us great athletes in women's sports, to celebrate our LGBTQ plus brethren and sisters and our family on that side. We got to talk about the fact that the Supreme Court has taken us back 50 years, hell, 100 years with their decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. And if you don't think this has anything to do with sports, then ask yourself a question, why are all sports invested in this? That's because guess what? You don't get your favorite NBA player without a mom. You don't get your awesome United States women's soccer team without a mom, without women. Candace Parker winning a WNBA championship for the city of Chicago. Abortion rights aren't just women's rights, they're human rights. You are not just talking about a woman being able to go to a clinic and get an abortion. You're also talking about contraception. You're also talking about how many of these women, Planned Parenthood are one of the only ways they actually get healthcare in this country. Funny though, right? How fast that passed, but yet baby formula can't be found. People are spending how much money on going to the hospital? Student loans. This isn't just a modern day Republican Democratic problem. This is a problem that's been happening forever. And the fact that in 50 years, you couldn't codify Roe v. Wade, make it law of the land, they're all complicit, in my opinion. This is all in my opinion about all this. And if it doesn't anger you, you need to check yourself in the mirror because it's not right now. It may just seem like, well, that's their problem. That's not my problem. How long until they start knocking on your door? How long until gay marriage is banned? How long until interracial marriage is banned? How long until people of a certain ethnicity can earn or work or own certain land in certain cities? Some of these major teams had statements to make about the news that came out of Washington from the Supreme Court. This is from the WNBA and the NBA. The NBA and the WNBA believe that women should be able to make their own decisions concerning their health and future. And we believe that freedom should be protected. We will continue to advocate for gender and health equality, including ensuring our employees have access to reproductive health care regardless of their location. This comes from the Chicago Red Stars. The Chicago Red Stars who were in the championship game, right? You know a lot of those players, right? But again, it's not your problem. This doesn't cross genres. The Chicago Red Stars unequivocally oppose the overturn of Roe v. Wade. The ruling will have a resounding detrimental effect across the nation, particularly in marginalized and underserved communities. That's another thing too, right? How many of these politicians, how many of these people that were jumping for joy this past week are going to foster kids, going to adopt kids? No, they're going to be the first ones that complain about the handouts, all the money the government is giving these people. What money? What money? These straw man conversations that they have, yet they'll do nothing to make sure that the mom who's being forced to carry that child that came from rape is being taken care of. No, in fact, the funny thing is she's more punishable by law than the guy that raped her. This isn't conjecture. This isn't rumor, innuendo. This is fact. And I know in today's world, facts can be skewed to what facts for you, but those are just the facts. We believe reproductive health choices are fundamental human rights, and the right to choose should remain accessible, affordable, and equitable for all. Because again, a lot of these people who make these decisions, a lot of these huge time brokers that give campaign money, they'll still do it. They'll still find money to take their daughter or son to go to the clinic, but you can't. You won't be able to. The Supreme Court decided that guns are harder to regulate and should not be regulated, but yet a woman body should be. Just remember that. Texas, Florida, any of these other, and I'll just say southern states and some of these Midwestern states, they've decided they can't regulate guns. Oh, no. How could we? How could we ever go against Big Daddy NRA? But your uterus, that's up for sale. And it's not up for sale for you. It's up to us what's up for sale. Again, I wonder how this would be if erectile dysfunction was the conversation. If it had anything to do with a penis, would it be like this? Of course not. Of course not. So I know this is a sports show. I know you want to talk about the NBA draft. We've done that, and we will continue to do that. But there is no way that we could go through all this inclusion and all this, we want to make the world better, and that the certain people who are in charge of and typically part of one party in the political spectrum have decided that half our species doesn't have a right to their own body. That's just what happened. And here's something for the Democrats. Don't just run on it, solve it. You no longer get the right to run on this policy, to run on this issue. You have to do something about it, because it wasn't too long ago that you had everybody in power, from the Supreme Court, from the House to the Senate, even the White House. And this wasn't made the land of the law. This wasn't law of the land, was it? No, we're back here. You saw what Mitch McConnell was doing. You saw what the Republicans were doing for years. And you let down the women, the mothers, the daughters, sisters, wives, everyone down. You let them down. So I'm calling to all of our amazing listeners here on the Sports Cubicle. Vote. Vote like your life depends on it. And here's the trick of it. You just don't vote when you want to get somebody out of the White House. Vote every year. Who is your judge? Who is your sheriff? Who is taking care of the money in your town? Who is deciding what gets built in your town? Now is the time. We already are a lot late when it comes to a lot of different rights and problems we have on this damn planet and in this dang country. But you want to be about it, now is the time. You want to watch sports? You want to get all emotional on Mother's Day during baseball? Well, stop being hypocritical. And I include myself in that. It was a dark day, not just for sports, for pop culture. It was a dark day in our country. because a country that decided that it was infringing on your human rights to put on a mask decided it's not infringement if we decide what happens to your uterus. Not mine, but yours and your mom's and your sisters and your daughters. Before we get out of here, this ridiculousness of Brittney Griner. I mean, if you haven't heard the story, Brittney Griner, it was a phone call. This comes to us from the Associated Press. A phone call between jailed WNBA star Brittney Griner and her wife is being rescheduled after an earlier attempt to connect on the couple's anniversary failed because of a quote-unquote unfortunate mistake, the Biden administration official said Tuesday. State Department spokesman Ned Price said the original call last weekend could not be completed because of a logistical error that officials have worked quickly to fix so that a new call can take place. The State Department and White House did not offer a date for the rescheduled call. Quote, "It was a mistake. It is a mistake that we have worked to ratify," Price told reporters Tuesday. Quote, "The call has been rescheduled and will take place in relatively short order." Now, Griner was to have spoken with her wife, Cheryl, on Saturday, the couple's 4th anniversary, for the first time since her arrest in Russia in mid-February. The call was to have been routed through the American embassy in Russia, which was to have patched the conversation through. But Cheryl Griner told the Associated Press on Monday that call never came, even though it had been approved by the Russian government and had been on schedule for about 2 weeks. She said that though she was initially concerned Russian authorities had thwarted the call, she later learned that her wife had tried to call her 11 times by dialing a number for the U.S. embassy that she had been given, but no one picked up the line on Saturday. This is one of our famous athletes. Again, not just one of our famous athletes, one of our famous LGBTQ plus Olympic winning and WNBA champion athletes. And we can't take care of them. That's what this whole segment is about. We pick and choose. The U.S. government, the people in charge, the people who spend all day on your television trying to convince you that they're doing the best for you, are showing you right in front of you what they believe in you and the people you love, the people you admire. Would this be the case if this was Steph Curry? Would this be the case if this was Mike Trout? What if this was Tom Brady? I'm not one that always pushes the race issue, the gender issue. But when is enough enough? When is political red tape BS enough? Well, apparently we just learned this past week, it's never enough. We want to know your thoughts. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. It's the marvelous one, Dan Marver. It's Devin Tingle. It's Paul Chivari. I'm Mike Mercado.